Today's video is going to be about Arctic Fox, Aquamarine mixed with Neon Moon. So to start, I have my swatches labeled 1 through 9 today, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. We'll be doing close-ups and pictures near the end of the video, so the numbers are just to help us keep track of each swatch. These are human hair swatches, but the only one that is virgin hair is going to be number 1, the black swatch. The rest are not virgin hair. For my mix videos, what I like to do is I'll take 2 separate mixtures on the strands. Today, I think I'm going to do the mixture with more Aquamarine at the top and the one with more Neon Moon at the bottom. So not to spoil anything for you guys, I do usually swatch the mixtures on a paper towel before I put them down, and I did want to point something out. So today's mixtures are going to be these two, and I noticed that this one kind of had the same tone as Iris Green. I haven't done Iris Green yet, but I decided to try mixing in a little bit more Neon Moon. So this is the 12:1 ratio. So there's 12 parts of Neon Moon in this with 1 part Aquamarine, and this is Arctic Fox's Iris Green. They are very, very similar. I would say the biggest difference is Iris Green looks to be a little bit more muted, which means it might not be as pigmented. Obviously, we haven't laid the dye on yet, so I'm not sure how pigmented this ratio will be, but Aquamarine by itself is very, very pigmented, so I'm hoping it is. And of course, when I do Iris Green, I will compare those swatches to these in the future. So for the first mixture, it's going to be a 4:1 ratio, 4 parts of Aquamarine to 1 part of Neon Moon. For the second mixture, we're going to be doing an 8:1 ratio. So that is 8 parts of Neon Moon to 1 part Aquamarine. So I'm going to let these sit for about 3 hours. I will rinse them out. When they're dry, I will meet you back here and we can do some comparisons. I don't think I mentioned earlier, but this mixture is actually one that you guys voted on. And I do the voting pretty far ahead of time. So just stay on the lookout on my channel for any polls, because I do really like getting your guys' feedback on what videos I should make. So out of the 2 dyes, Aquamarine is definitely the most pigmented. And the top half that has more Aquamarine, I can actually see a difference on number 2 as well. It almost looks like a black with a green undertone. And then for the bottom half that has a little bit more Neon Moon, I can actually see a difference starting on number 3. I feel like when I'm mixing the dyes together, it's kind of hard to tell how different they're going to look on the hair. But I will say, for how pigmented Aquamarine is, I don't feel like as much blue showed up in the top half as I expected. So if you did want yours to be a little bit more blue, just add less Neon Moon. But no matter what, you will get a mostly green result because blue and yellow make green, if you didn't know that already. I did already mention I feel like the bottom half is kind of how Iris Green looks, but I know I already said I haven't done it yet. I will compare these when I do have Iris Green, of course. But from what I remember, Iris Green isn't quite as pigmented. So if Iris Green doesn't work for your hair, the Neon Moon and Aquamarine mixture might be a little bit better for you because of how pigmented the Aquamarine is. So I'm just going to jump right into comparisons. I'm going to start with the one that is not quite as similar out of my two, and that is Lime Crime in the color Sea Witch. This is comparable to number 9, number 8, number 7, and number 6. I kind of wanted to compare this one because in my head at least, I'm imagining if you just added the tiniest amount of Neon Moon to your Aquamarine mix, it probably would look a lot like this Sea Witch color. So the top portion for the Sea Witch has direct dye, there's no diluter. You can see that it still holds a little bit green, even though there is also a cool tone to it. And yeah, so basically I wanted this to be the example for if I added even less Neon Moon into the dye, what it could possibly look like. Because on its own, Aquamarine is a lot more blue looking in comparison to these. The next comparison I wanted to do was Punky color in the color Alpine Green. This is comparable to number 9. This is comparable to number 8, 7, and 6. So upon first glance, Alpine Green is quite clearly on the darker range in comparison to the mixture. Hopefully you can tell on camera though, it is a very similar undertone. I actually think the undertone is a little bit closer to the bottom half, but darker basically. So I imagine that the Alpine Green is what this mixture would look like if you added some Transylvania to it. Especially on the number 11 and 8 swatch, the diluted section for the Alpine Green and the Neon Moon part, they look almost exactly the same. On the 12, 10, and 9 for the diluted portion, it does look slightly more smoky and not quite as bright as the mixture looks. So undertone is about the same, it's just the mixture is probably just a little bit more saturated in color. Yeah, so I feel like with both of the comparisons, like for the first one, if you liked that color and you don't already have Aquamarine or Neon Moon to mix together, you could probably just buy the Lime Crime Sea Witch to get like that bluish green. And same goes for this one. If you like the undertone in this green but you want it darker, the Alpine Green might be a better option if you don't already have Neon Moon and Aquamarine. Just depends on your preference, of course. Also, I recently joined Amazon's affiliate program, so if you're interested in the swatches that I use or any of the hair dyes I talked about today, I will have that linked below if you feel like checking that out. So now that we've finished the comparisons, let's get into the close-ups. Anything that I film after this portion, the close-ups and any pictures at the end, will all be done in natural lighting. Sometimes replicating the same exact environment in natural lighting can be very difficult, so if anything looks slightly off, that's probably why. I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do dyes that do not test on animals. Thank you to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.